EU top diplomat Josep Borrell is calling on bloc members to consider imposing sanctions on Israeli ministers. He says they have been spreading hate messages against Palestinians, including some inciting war crimes. Mr. Borrell did not name any official, but he has in recent weeks publicly criticized Israeli Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir and Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich for statements he has described as sinister. Ireland says it will back Mr. Borrell's suggestion. In the occupied West Bank, Palestinian militant group Islamic Jihad has confirmed a top commander was killed in an Israeli raid. Israeli forces had said they eliminated 5 Palestinian militants inside a mosque in the city of Tulkarm. The IDF continues to press on with its large-scale operation across 4 West Bank cities for a second day. At least 18 Palestinians have been killed so far. International concern is mounting over what is considered one of Israel's largest assaults in the occupied West Bank. UN Chief Antonio Guterres has called for an immediate cessation of the operation, adding that developments are fueling, quote, an already explosive situation in the West Bank. The UN Human Rights Office earlier said the escalating violence risks deepening, quote, an already catastrophic situation. The agency also reminded Israel to abide by its obligations under international law as an occupying power. At the Gaza Strip, the UN Food Agency has temporarily suspended movement of its staff after the IDF opened fire on one of its vehicles. The UN says the car had clear markings but was still fired on as it approached an Israeli military checkpoint yesterday. 8 Palestinians, including children, were killed earlier today after an Israeli strike hit their home in Gaza City and sparked a fire. Members of the Civil Defense Force said that a lack of resources prevented them from working properly. And for more, Sarah Coates joins us live from Tel Aviv. Sarah, how significant is that push by the EU's foreign policy chief for sanctions? And if these sanctions are imposed, what kind of impact would they have on the war?
Hello there, Wei Su. These are significant, really, given that it highlights this growing anger being directed at some Israeli ministers by top EU officials, although in saying that, it is pretty unlikely for this to actually go through, given that it would be very, very difficult to get these 27 member states to actually agree on something put forward by Borrell, given these growing rifts within the bloc. Now, without naming anyone, as you mentioned, Josep Borrell, he does appear to be referring to Bezalel Smotrich, the finance minister, and also the national security minister, Itamar Ben-Gvir. These are 2 ultra-right-wing members of the Israeli government who Benjamin Netanyahu, the Israeli prime minister, very much relies on to keep him in power. And these are 2 people who've really been openly calling for the expansion of settlements and also violence against Palestinian people. So certainly very significant in that respect, but once again, very unlikely to go through. We have heard Ireland actually come out to publicly support this push there by Borrell, and this, of course, is taking place as this massive raid is continuing in the West Bank. You mentioned it there. Already 18 people have been killed. That is according to Palestinian officials on the ground. And this comes really at a time of heightened tension right here in the region as people in Israel brace for this anticipated response to Iran, which has been threatening to hit Israel, of course, after the assassination of Ismail Haniyeh in Tehran.
Oh, thanks. Sarah Coates reporting live from Tel Aviv.